I am not going to waste your time today because I'm talking about Rwby. So I do want this video to be done quickly. Now for those who have been living your best life and have never heard of this show, first of all, congrats. I'm genuinely happy for you. What is Rwby? Rwby is a web animated action fantasy series produced by Rooster Teeth. It premiered in 2013 and it has been described as, and I kid you not, I am not making this up, an anime-inspired show set in the world of Remnant where creatures called Grimm roam the land and young hunters train at academies to fight them. It has like this gigantic, obsessed fan base. It has merch, it has a video game or two, which you are seeing in the background, manga, and a traditional 2D anime instead of a 3D CGI hybrid thing. And what am I doing here today? I am here to tell you, with all the love in my heart and all the patience I have left, which is none, it is not good. And yet I really love Rwby. So I'm gonna put a disclaimer here so you know. Let's start at the beginning, because that's where problems are born and never die. The world of Remnant is introduced to us through these little character trailers. Red, white, black, and yellow. And okay, that's fine, they're stylish, I'll give them that. The action is fun, the music is catchy. You watch those trailers and think, oh, yeah, this is fun, this has potential. And that's genuinely the cruelest trick this show ever played on anyone. Because the moment the actual show starts, you realize something is narratively and structurally wrong. These characters are not introduced as people, but as concepts. Ruby Rose, our main character, is the optimistic, clumsy, lovable underdog, while Schnee is the usual uptight rich girl who secretly has a heart of gold. Bland Belladonna, is the mysterious loner with the dark past, and that says a lot about her if that's all I have to say about her. Yang Xiaolong is the fun and tough big sister. To me, these are not characters. They are archetypes written on an index card and stapled together. Now, I do want to be fair here. A lot of shows start with archetypes and develop them into real people. Look at My Hero Academia, for example. Bakugo is a delinquent. Izuku is a whiny, skinny kid, and they become genuinely great characters. That's completely normal, legitimate storytelling, and just great development in your story. The keyword is development. Rwby will introduce a character trait and then just leave it. It's the same with the plot. I genuinely want to like it. I really do. I just need a moment to figure out how to describe it charitably. The short version, the shortest I could type out, there's a villain named Salem. She's kinda evil. She wants to destroy the world like the rest of them. And the heroes need to stop her. That's the story. That's it. Broadly, the entire story across 9 volumes. But I hear her say, wait, surely there's more to that. And yes, technically there are subplots. There are stuff like kingdoms and councils and the White Fang and the Schnee Dust Company and a character named Osbin who has been reincarnating for centuries. And look, there is stuff. There is a lot of stuff. The problem is that none of the stuff is connected. Like, not connected in a way that feels intentional. Also, Salem is just a straight fraud. She has nothing to do, or she does nothing, like 0 things. This bitch does not add any real value. She just sits on her ass and broods. It's like Ruby's plotting is like someone dumping a puzzle onto the table, and instead of assembling it, they just point at individual pieces and go, see, it's a lighthouse right there. That's part of the lighthouse. And you go, okay, but where's the rest of it? And they go, the rest? We needed to make that? That's the same thing as the payoffs in this show. They take so long to arrive, and by the time they do, you've forgotten what you were waiting for. Character arcs that were set up, abandoned fully. Major revelations happen, and then the characters just don't meaningfully react to them. At one point, the character learns something utterly life-changing about someone they trust completely, and I won't spoil it, but their reaction is essentially the emotional equivalent of a shrug and a, well, anyway, I was floored when I saw that. I sat there and I genuinely said out loud with my family next to me, that's it? Through action and implication are just announced out of the blue. Someone will have gone through an traumatic experience, and instead of showing the quiet way it changes them, I say something like, I can tell this has been very hard for you. You've been carrying a lot. And the first character will say, yeah, it has been hard, but I know I have to keep going. That gives me vibes of anime dubs from the 2000s and 4Kids back in the day. Anyone remember that? There's a, like, Rwby has a craft to making an audience feel something, and that craft requires trusting your audience to be smart enough to understand that they're watching without having it narrated to them. Rwby does not trust that audience. Rwby thinks its audience needs a guidance tour through every single emotion with little plaques explaining what each or everyone is. Meanwhile, the comedy, the jokes, yeah, it's not for me. I understand humor is subjective, I genuinely do, but there is a style of joke that show relies on where someone does something bumbling and wacky and the music goes all silly and another character reacts with exasperation, and I think we are supposed to laugh. And sometimes I watch those scenes and I felt like a scientist observing humor from behind a one-way mirror taking notes, technically understanding that a joke has occurred, but unable to access the part where that makes it funny. Rwby humor is only funny to those digital artists or people who find Edgeworld the most hilarious thing in the world. But genuinely, don't get me wrong, I want to be genuinely kind here, because Rwby was made on a budget, and it was largely made by a small passionate team. And I respect the effort, I do, but the early seasons look like someone accidentally rendered a video cutscene in the wrong settings. Characters slide across the floors, hair clips through shoulders, faces and wide shots have the approximate expressiveness of a wooden spoon. The mouths move in a way that suggests the animators were describing the concept of speech rather than attempting to simulate it. The action scenes are the saving grace. Let's not dick around that. When the show is doing a big fight, the choreography is legitimately imaginative and the skill that can be genuinely impressive. Those are the moments. They are real. I'm not going to pretend they aren't. But you have to sit through so much to get to those great fight scenes. So much walking down hallways. So much standing around in rooms having conversations that go nowhere. So much watching characters react to things with the same three facial expressions rotating on a schedule. Here's the thing that keeps me up at night about Rwby, though. The thing is that makes it specifically particularly frustrating as opposed to just forgettable. I find the premise and the concept actually solid. Like, I do love the concept of Rwby. I really do. I want it to be good. I want it to have a great story. That is why I'm making this video. Rwby needs a remake or a full-on reboot with writers who know what they are doing, because like I said, the aesthetic is genuinely unique. But the music, and I will die on this hill, this is a legitimate hot take, the music is legitimately one of the worst things I've ever heard in my life. This Will Be the Day is an exception because that's genuinely good. Jeff Williams and Casey Lee Williams absolutely delivered a edgy rock OST that has like nothing to do with the narrative story. If you ever listen to the Rwby soundtrack independent of the show, try to listen to it like a song. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. Maybe you agree with me that it's just a little too cringe and edgy for your taste. But with that, we're going into the last topic of this video. I want to dive into the ideas of Rwby. The ideas in Rwby to me are genuinely interesting. The themes they're going for: legacy, found family, the cost of protecting others, cycles of trauma. Those are rich themes, genuinely rich themes. There are moments scattered throughout, like rare gemstones in a large amount of gravel, where you can see the show could what the show could have been. A scene lands, a character moment hits, and you lean forward and go, "Oh, there it is! Finally!" And then the next episode does something inexplicable, and the feeling evaporates. That gap between what Rwby is searching for and what it actually achieves is the most exhausting distance I have ever had to watch this show filter across. At the end of all of this, I do want to be 100% clear. I do not think the people who love Rwby are wrong for loving it. Fandom is personal. What resonates with people is real and valid. And if this show gives you something meaningful, I respect that completely. Hell, despite my critiques in this video, I love Rwby. I can't hate it, and I'm genuinely glad Volume 10 is greenlit. That's cool. Not many shows can say that. But until Volume 10 comes out, I watched 9 volumes of this show, and I came on the other side feeling like I wanted my hours back sometimes. like I wanted more from a show that tries to deliver but always falls flat on its fails to do so. In my humble, asshole-ish opinion, the writers just need to reboot the series in a better art style and a better story. A story not based on the original Rwby, not entirely strive away from the concepts. Like, keep the main characters, main core, Grim, Salem, keep them all. But yeah, I'm going to lie down because I've seen too much Rwby again, and it feels like I stared at a pile of shit for hours on end. If you also love Rwby and don't love Rwby, comment down below why you do, and please subscribe to the channel because this has taken a mental toll on me. I'll see you guys in the next one.